Hey, plumbing pros, welcome to the 469th episode of Potty Talk, where we're taking it into the trenches, crawl spaces, kitchens and baths, all around this big, beautiful world of ours, talking the business of plumbing, how to have a thriving, self-sustaining, and very profitable plumbing business while having a life too, very important. Hey, let me ask you something. Does your phone feel a little too quiet these days? If you're busting your butt, but still wondering, why isn't my phone ringing more with good paying customers? This episode is your wake-up call, literally. I'm sitting down with local search experts, OKLocal, to break down how they're helping plumbing businesses like yours show up top of list on not only standard local search inquiries, but AI assistant searches, like when customers say, hey Siri, I need a plumber. It's happening, man. The future is here, and the plumbing businesses that catch the rocket will thrive. Those that don't, won't. But that's not going to be you, because by the end of this episode, you're going to know how to get your business listed in over 300 directories without even lifting a finger. Rank on voice platforms like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant. And then turn that digital visibility into real calls from real good paying customers. So if you're tired of being invisible online and you're ready to dominate your local market, hey, buckle up. This one's going to change the game. So let's go. All right, hey Dave, it's so good to have you here. I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you. More importantly, I've been looking forward to sharing you and OKLocal, all right, and your expertise, with the Potty Talk audience here. So again, man, thanks for taking the time. It's good to have you here.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, it's good to be here. I really enjoyed the webinar last week that we did together. I think we got into some good stuff, and hopefully we can go into even more detail today. So yeah, really happy to be having this chat.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Yeah, Dave, I really appreciate you speaking into our class, into the Success Academy, and that was a good, that was a good class. We got a lot out of that here. But I'm good to have you here. Glad to have you here. So why don't I introduce you here? Let's get into it here. So what is OKLocal? Okay, and how did you get into the world of local SEO?
Yeah, absolutely. So OKLocal is a local SEO consulting business. We're really focused on directory management. And so you can think of us as like a centralized hub for all of your online directories or citations as a small local business. So everything from your Google business profile to your, Apple Maps or Alexa profile, and then all the way to, the second and third rate directories that a lot of people maybe haven't heard of or don't have active listings on, or maybe even worse, have outdated listings on. So the idea with OKLocal is you can come into our platform, have one profile that will consistently update dozens of other profiles for you. So you only have to do things once whenever you're making changes to your online footprint, essentially.
Which I love. I love. Kind of make things simple. All right, and you guys handle all the complexity, and then we'll wheel it all down and make it simple. So yeah, that's what we love about OKLocal. So what made you decide, Al, we're going to get into all that, but what made you decide to focus largely on home service pros? I know you like plumbers. I know you do others, but you help a lot of home service pros.
Yeah, so I've been in marketing for, I guess, over a decade now, and specifically got into this local SEO world a year and a half ago. I was helping my dad, who's in the construction business, so pretty adjacent to a lot of the local services that we help, and certainly we have construction businesses as well. And I was kind of taking a look at his business, his Google business profile, and just his website and whatnot, and he wanted help with some very simple stuff. And the more I looked at it and looked at what he was having trouble with his GBP, I was realizing that there was an opportunity here to help other people who were just not kind of grasping some of the very basic elements of the Google business profile, and particularly how things are moving in this direction towards voice search, where now we've got, over half of consumers using voice search regularly, and 75% of those searches are for local businesses. So it's really important to be optimized specifically for voice search.
Exactly. I call it, we talk about this, that, I know if you're old enough to remember phone books. A lot of our listeners aren't. I mean, they recall phone books, but this is the phone book today. And you mentioned, in Google, and GMB, Google My Business. So you got to show up here or you're invisible. And sadly, certainly for my case, I kind of knew of it, but I didn't know how, and that kind of a thing. So it's so important to be there. So,
particularly if you're not in like the top three, usually people are seeing that map pack for local searches, and it's like the top three, and then everyone else is invisible. So our goal is to help our clients get into that top three.
Exactly, and we can, even as small companies, we can compete with the big guys if we do the right things. Okay, that we're going to talk about here. And I do equate that. It's back in the day with the phone books. And go back to the phone book. You could be in the phone book and you think, I can remember my first page. When I got in the phone book, I was like, okay, things are going to take off. All right, but I was way in the back of the phone book, and it was the same with the phone book. They just went through the first couple pages, so you had to be up front. And back in that day, to be up front in the phone book, it was the guys that already got there first, like the Roto-Rooters and the Ben Franklins and the big money, companies. And it's also big money to be up front. You got to pay buku bucks, to be up in the front of the phone book. Because that's where the customers, they all went through the first couple pages. They didn't go in the back. The same thing here is with in a sense of search, other than it's way less, it's like really not even expensive. How I look at it, expensive. With GMB, you can be there, it's free, right? But you got to be in that top, above the fold of those top three, right? And it's the same kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff we do is, very inexpensive. It takes time though, and that's why we all price out. But it's certainly more of a time thing than life on them.
There's certainly, with the phone book, all I do is pay. All right. And you were there, right? But with this, you don't have to pay. There's not a whole lot to pay, but it's knowing you got to do things in the right way to be able to get there. So that's what OKLocal is all about, helping us with. So, hey, what is the difference between what is the difference between local SEO, and regular SEO? Or is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. There's a few differences. I would say local SEO is where you're really just taking that keyword or search term, say like plumber, and then adding a location. So it becomes plumber near me or plumber in Dallas or, something really just plumber. And then whatever the GPS coordinates of the device that the person is searching on is kind of the implied location. So that's the big difference. And then the difference in how the results are displayed again are with the map pack, as we kind of were just talking about. And then the biggest thing is with local search, you're really not trying to get them to your website. Whereas with traditional SEO, it's, you're trying to rank for some broad thing, and then you're trying to get the person to your website where they're going to take some action, whether it's make a purchase or an appointment or whatever else. But with local SEO, it's like, hey, let's have my Google business profile be displayed, and then let's just have them take an action right on the profile, whether it's call me, click for directions, maybe they just see the address and they walk over or whatever. So it's much more focused on just getting that initial viewing of the profile and much less about getting people to the actual website.
So what's that look like? Like, I get with traditional SEO, we were using like keywords again to get them to the web page. But now there's a sense of, and to see if I can get, I'm an old dog, getting this right, and things are changing so quickly, especially with, what's the word I'm looking for? Like ChatGPT and those kinds of things, Siri and all that kind of stuff. And so with the Google searches, they're now going back. So if someone searches in Dallas and where they're at in Dallas, maybe they're a neighborhood, right? Or a suburb of Dallas, and they're searching from a certain suburb of Dallas, like Denton. I know that's a suburb of Dallas, Denton. They're looking for, and going back to your webpage, is this what's happening? Google's going back and, looking for a reference back to your webpage that you serve Denton. Is that how that works?
Looking at three things, essentially. So it's looking at relevance. So again, if we're searching, just keep it generic with plumber or plumber near me or something like that. It's looking for relevance. So number one, the algorithm is thinking, okay, is this person a plumber? And that's going to be based on, the category of their Google profile, information on their website, the description in their Google profile, things like that.
Okay.
If it was, if somebody's looking for a little more specific service like water heater installation or something like that, then it's going to be, is this plumber relevant for that specific service? So that's the relevance part. And then the prominence part is, okay, we know it's a plumber, but are they a good plumber? Are they a prominent plumber? Do they have a lot of reviews? Do they have a nice website? Does their website include, whatever keyword the person was searching for? Things like that. And then number 3 is location. So, okay, we've got this cluster of plumbers that we know are relevant. We've got another cluster that we know are prominent. There's some overlap there. And then who overlaps with this exact location that the person searching is in. And then from there, it's taking, the kind of best combination of those 3 and deciding, okay, here's plumber 1, 2, and 3 to show.
So exactly. So yeah, so we need to have more. So it's more than just, what they talk about, keyword search, keyword stuffing, our website. It's actually on how things need to be mapped out in a certain way so that Google, these things are comfortable going through it.
Exactly. And so one of the things for prominence, particularly, with Google is obviously pretty focused on your Google business profile, but if people are searching on Siri or Alexa or places like that, those voice platforms in particular are very reliant on just seeing consistent data from a lot of different sources. So those ones want to see, not just the GBP, but they want to see that you've got, 10, 20 other directories that all have the same exact formatted, consistent, accurate, updated information. And again,
so that's how things have changed. Like for me, I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of, Angie's List and Home Advisor. It's kind of the wrong kind of customer for what we really want to go after. They're looking for, bottom dollar deals from those kind of directories. But saying that now, even though you may not be going after those customers, I would want to have my plumbing business listed like on Angie or Home Advisor, because the AI series and that kind of stuff are also, are they checking those kinds of directories as well?
Yeah, those are relevant as well.
Okay.
They're not required, obviously, especially the ones that you have to pay to be on.
Right.
But they're, every little piece like that is kind of adding to your prominence.
Okay. So that's good. So you mentioned reviews on that. So what role does reviews play, for local search? And how many do you really need?
So I would say it's above a certain threshold, maybe it's not that huge of a number, maybe above like a dozen, say. You really just need consistent monthly improvement. So I would worry, especially if you're a small business, a local business, worry more about having, a few reviews at least every week or every month, depending how big your business is, as opposed to I need to get 100 reviews right now and then kind of forget about it. Because like everything with the search engine optimization stuff, it will get stale in the algorithm's mind. So if you have 100 reviews, but they're all a year old or whatever, it's really not, the algorithm's not going to care as much as if you've got, 4 reviews every single month for the last 6 months or something like that.
So if I'm a smaller, plumbing, that's good news, right? I mean, so if I'm a smaller plumbing company, I'm just starting out, right? And, I'm competing with, the Roto-Rooters of the world, and they have, 5,000 reviews. Well, I can't get to that, but starting out, if I'm consistent, is what I'm hearing, consistent on adding reviews, Google likes that.
Yep. They like the quality, they like the velocity, and then, they do like the overall number, but the quality and the velocity are the thing that you can really control. Obviously, the overall number is a lot harder for smaller businesses.
Okay. So it's going this way. I'm just amazed. It's just fun, being, I've been in the plumbing industry for, over 40 years. And of course, been around this stuff. And it is so exciting to see how this AI and all this kind of stuff is really changing things. In fact, I'm excited about it because it makes it even easier for, a small guy to compete with the big guys. How is the voice search changing things? I know it's And how much are we headed towards, voice search like Siri and those kinds of things? Even like, Chat GTP are
Yeah. So
service consumers, are they using Chat GTP and asking, for get plumbers near me?
they absolutely are. And that's kind of the next frontier for sure when it comes to all this stuff. Some people are calling it like generative engine optimization or LLM optimization or just AI optimization. And that's another product that we hope to launch in the next month or so here, is really focused on improving your ranking on those types of engines. Because we can see more and more search is moving in that direction. First it was like all typed, and then we kind of had the voice phase here. And then that voice phase is kind of moving into the AI phase, which of course there's overlap because some people are talking to the AIs with their voice.
Yeah.
And like one of the big differences with voice is that people are more often asking in the form of a question. So the keyword is going to be something kind of longer tailed and in the form of a question, like, "Hey Siri, who is the best plumber to winterize my house in Minneapolis this winter?" or something of that nature. So that's like a pretty specific thing that, a lot of businesses are not going to have on their website. But if you can have like an FAQ section where you're asking and answering questions like that, it becomes a really good way to improve your ranking on the voice platforms, just because, again, so many people are asking in the form of a question.
Right. So it's just being aware of that's how people are asking. And so having that built into our website so that the AI can find, the answer to that question. And, right. And so, that is really, I personally, I find that amazing, and I love it, where it's headed that way, with the AI, and ranking like that. And at the same time, it can be a little overwhelming because you asked me a plumbing question, and I know, my viewers, my listeners can relate to this. We're master plumbers. So I walk into a house and plumbing wise, or, on the job, I feel totally in control. But even just how you explained some of that, Dave, it kind of went way over my head. Even after all these years, it went way over my head. So I can be a little intimidated by that. But what I want to tell my audience here is, you don't have to, again, this isn't about you being an expert. It's just being aware that this is what needs to happen, all right, for you to be successful. And then you use, OKLocal. You use the experts to make sure that you're set up properly, And so I just want to assure guys, you don't have to totally understand all this, but you must be aware of it because it is what's happening.
For sure. And yeah, particularly with AI stuff, there's way less information out there about how to impact those systems. So a lot of it is really just about awareness of, okay, this is what ChatGPT thinks about my business. Hopefully it's something that's accurate and not like hallucinated. But it also, as long as we have the awareness of, okay, ChatGPT is pulling, this piece of information about my business from this old directory from 10 years ago where, all that info is outdated or whatever, at least with that awareness, we can go and like dig into that directory and fix that information. Or in some cases, I've even seen things like ChatGPT will be hallucinating a page of your website. So like, let's say you're pottytalk.com, and then ChatGPT is pulling all this info from like pottytalk.com/services, which maybe isn't even a page that you have. And so you can be like, well, if ChatGPT is pulling info from there, I might as well go build that page so that as it's pulling that info, it's actually real, accurate info, and it's not just, hallucinating something that doesn't exist.
Oh, that totally makes sense. And it's important too that our information is the same across all these directories, right? I mean, it can't be like Potty Talk, like when we were live. It can't be Potty Talk live here and just Potty Talk over there, on this directory. It all needs to be the same.
Yeah. Otherwise, the algorithms are so finicky and they just get easily confused. And if they're confused, they're just like, well, this probably isn't the most relevant or prominent person to show, so I'm going to show somebody else.
And again, why we want to use the experts, gang, OKLocal, to be on top of this, because we're taking care of Mrs. Jones. Dave, we're taking care of Mrs. Jones. I don't have time to become an expert. This all makes sense, but to be on top of it and go, I don't even know all the directories to go to that, that they're looking at.
And
Yeah.
it can be like, things that are so specific that you would never think of it. Like, you've got your address as 123 Main Street, spelled out STREET. And then in another place you have just ST period. To a human, that looks the same, but to AIs and algorithms and whatnot, that's like, oh, is this the same place, or is this two different addresses? And
that
stuff like that we help manage and make sure it's, perfect.
No, that totally makes sense. And again, I don't have the time to do that. Quite frankly, I don't want to take the time to do that and get it all figured out. Again, why we're so thankful for OKLocal. So, hey, on that, what's the most common mistake you see that the plumbing business is making online? What comes to?
Ignoring the Google business profile is like probably the biggest one. If you don't have a Google business profile, you should absolutely have one. If you have one, but it's not updated, you should certainly update it. You can make, it doesn't have to be like any crazy exciting update. It can just be a new picture of your new truck, or even your newly washed truck, or, some new plumbing equipment you got, or a team member that you just added, or whatever. They just want to see, like I was saying, kind of with the reviews where they get stale. Same thing with like the images on your profile, they get stale in the mind of the algorithm. So it likes to see updates there, again, like every 4 to 6 weeks. Another mistake we make is people going kind of too far the other direction and like trying to keyword stuff their Google business profile. Yeah. So, maybe their name is just Rich's Plumbing, but they name their Google profile like Rich's Plumbing, best plumber in Dallas, expert plumber, or something like that. And, they're trying to trick the algorithm to rank for those keywords, but the reality is the algorithm notices stuff like that, and then it actually punishes you, ranks you lower for those keywords. So avoiding stuff like that is pretty paramount. And then just, making sure you've got a website that has at least, at a bare minimum, your services on it and the locations that you serve on it. And another big mistake I see is people who go too wide with their service area on their profile. So if the algorithm sees, that you're in one location and you claim that you're willing to serve an area that's 3 hours away, it's going to be pretty skeptical, and it's probably going to just kind of involuntarily shrink the area that it actually serves, or that it actually will show you in search results. Mm-hmm. And, it might actually overcorrect the other way and make your area too small. So I recommend making your actual service area what it is, make it honest. Don't try to, stretch and think, oh, well, if I got a really, really big job that was 3 hours away, I would take it, and just, stick to where are you consistently, pretty much always willing to go.
Yes. So it can, it picks up on, it'll wind up dumping you. That is so, again, gang, why you want to use the experts to stay on top of things just like that, because we just don't have time or the knowledge to, and it's always changing, right? So you're focused on and on top of it. Hey, Dave, you mentioned GMB, in passing. Would you please explain what the GMB is and why that's important to us?
GMB or GBP, they kind of rebranded, but Google Business Profile or Google My Business. And again, this is like, it's essentially your website if you're a local business. It shouldn't completely replace your website, but I would say it's the more important element of your online footprint. Mm-hmm. And it's, a free directory listing that you go sign up for on Google, sort of like, as you were saying, the modern version of like the Yellow Pages. And it's just got your basic information, your name, address, phone number. It's got reviews, of course, whoever, goes to your company and then can review on Google. Your Google reviews are going to show up there. It's got an opportunity to have photos, a pretty detailed description of your business, a link to your website. And then, one of the big things, like I was saying, is when people search and they do find your business, a lot of times they're just finding that Google profile, and they're not even going to click to your website. They're just going to see, hey, I found his address or I found his phone number, click right on the profile to call, or, click the direction button, whatever it is. So it's kind of your digital storefront in a way, even more so than your website.
Exactly. It is the, it's important because we use our, use our phones, and that's what, customers are using. What is the number that is like 70%
Yeah,
of,
like something like 70%, I think, of searches are now mobile. And
right.
yeah, I guess another mistake I see is not having your website mobile optimized, because these algorithms now care a lot more about mobile than they do desktop. So if Google displays you as, the top search result, and somebody's on their phone and they click, and your site is either slow to load, or isn't mobile optimized, maybe it's not loading properly, and they bounce, the algorithm takes that as a sign of, hey, this wasn't a good result to show. I should show somebody else, because that visitor only lasted for 1 second on that website. So to the extent that the website is still important, stuff like that is really important. Just basically making sure you're not shooting yourself in the foot with your website.
Exactly. It totally makes sense where that's going. So again, what we have is, so they'll search, plumber near me, and up, in Dallas, right? Plumber near me, and up will pop the LSA section, right? Which is paid, Google guaranteed. And then down below that is the GMB, or they rebranded it. I've known it for years for GMP, where they list three.
Yeah, it's usually
three right there, and that's where you want to show up. That's like being in front of the phone book. That's right there. You got to show up there. And we're not going to show up there unless we have all these things in line. Yeah. Right. All right. So on that, so I'm a small guy. Okay, I'm a plumber. I have a limited budget. Of all the things you were just talking about there, what's the one thing that I should prioritize online?
Yeah. So one free thing you can do is run a scan. It's a free service we offer. There's another number of other companies that offer it, and see how your listings look across the web, across whatever directories you may have set up over the years. You might be surprised how many you've forgotten about that, have outdated or just completely wrong information. So that's kind of step one, is like clean up the low hanging fruit, as in the mistakes that are actually just hurting you for no reason.
Exactly. Like the wrong name, or like the address example you gave. Exactly. You may have street spelled out on this directory, and on this other directory it's ST, right?
So there's like a tool we can use that will scan the entire web and let you know, hey, we found you on 20 different directories. 10 of them look good. They've got, accurate, consistent information for the information you gave us. And then 10 have errors that need to be cleaned up. So that's, I would say, like, the step one is going to be doing that. And then step 2 and 3 is work on that Google business profile. Maybe work on your website a little bit, and then really going out and getting reviews. Reviews are they're crucial, because they're like third-hand validation or second-hand validation of the keywords that you're trying to rank for and that you're trying to put on your website. So if I've got, I can scream from the rooftops on my website, I'm the best plumber in Miami, or on my Google business profile, I can put, hey, I'm the best plumber in Miami in the description. And sure, that's a keyword that's on my, profile now, or that's associated with me. But if somebody, a third party writes in a review, hey, Dave is the best plumber in Miami, that carries a lot more weight in the algorithm's mind than it does when I just say it myself. So that's really, with the reviews, we say, get them at the point of, where the service is done, while it's still fresh in the person's mind, while they're still happy, while their problem is, just been solved. And then try and make it personal. Tell them how much the review is going to help you, whether you're the business owner, whether you're the technician, whatever it is. And then try to have them include the specific service you did, and how well you did it, so that the algorithm can associate that service with your business. It's going to have more relevance in the future, as well as more prominence, due to the additional review.
So I just heard Dave, there's some nuggets of gold right in there, just on the review side. So, I look at, of course we want reviews, and I like seeing, like at least a, 4.5 star or better. That never is going to be perfect. You're not always going to be perfect. And so I look at that with the stars, but really on the back end is, reviews are helping the algorithm say, this is a good plumber, or, this is a plumber in the area that can serve. But it helps to have in there that it's even more personal, like in what kind of service you did. So mentioning a name of someone and mentioning, repaired my water heater and, in Denton, Texas. Is that, I think I've heard you say that before, to even be that direct.
Exactly. Or, thanks so much for unclogging my toilet at 1 a.m. or whatever.
Yes, okay.
That is, very specific, that can give the algorithm, again, context on the job you did, how well you did it, the location you did it, the time you did it. All those things add up to, again,
Of making you more relevant, right? So someone's searching in Denton, Texas for, a water heater repair, near me. It's going through, and one of the things it's doing, not only, checking your website or whatever that you mentioned, water heater repair, but the reviews, and you're getting, second, third party validation, right? Which is what that is. That's mentioning, that they did a good job on, fixing my water heater, that kind of thing. That the algorithm likes that. That helps with your relevance. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, good. Well, hey, Dave. I mean, it's there's a lot here, and I just wanted the audience to meet you. We have a link down below that you can have a demo, have a chance to talk with OKLocal. They're not high pressure. There's no pressure, that kind of thing. But to check it out and see what all it takes, and to move that forward. I certainly recommend that. And but before I let you go on this, we talked around this, and again, I want to leave them with what could be what's the top 3 things that a plumber could do today. Okay, and you kind of touched all around this, but list them out here that we can do today to start improving our local presence.
Yeah. So number 1, have somebody like us run that scan, or frankly, you can find places to do it yourself and just get your directories cleaned up, or at least be aware of whether you have a directory issue that you should, and then you probably don't want to waste your time. You probably want to just hire somebody to clean it up. But number 1,
local. Yes.
Yeah. Be aware of whether you have a directory problem. Number 2, if you haven't already, for some reason, create or claim your Google profile. And then, assuming that you've already done that, go make an update to it. Add a photo, add some holiday hours of operation, just any kind of interaction with it makes it less stale in Google's mind, and makes the algorithm know, hey, this business is still open, this business is active, this business is relevant, prominent. So some kind of interaction with your Google business profile. And then number 3, call up the last customer you helped and go get a review from them. That's the biggest thing.
And get those reviews. Great. Nuggets of gold there. All right, man. Hey, Dave, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing here. I know there's a lot here. You make it sound relatively easy. And I know, and again, I'm just going to say, to our listeners, you don't want to be doing this, gang. Okay. But it's so important. And so, yes, you need someone like Dave and OKLocal here to be taking care of this. So again, man, I appreciate you taking the time being here, and love it, man.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, anyone, who reaches out, mention Potty Talk. We're going to give you a bunch of special offers. We're going to give you a free upgrade to our premium directory service. And we're also going to get you into our pilot program for that AI package I mentioned, as well as a upcoming reputation package where we'll be helping with reviews. So,
right.
Potty Talk.
That sounds like a great deal. Take advantage of it, gang. Hey, I appreciate it, man. All right. Hey, look forward to talking with you again.
Likewise.
All right, there we go. Hey, just again, I want to say thank you to Dave Shetner of OKLocal. Hey, just a good guy and a good organization. And you need this, okay? Hey, this is where everything's going. And again, you don't have to be an expert at it. You just need to be aware of it. And then allow the experts to do it, okay, like OKLocal. So, we have the link down below here. But also, I also have something for you here. I have a plumber near me visibility checklist you can get for free, as well as a link to OKLocal is in my free school group, okay, where I have all kinds of free lessons, free information there for you. And this is where you can pick up this plumber near me visibility checklist, okay? as well as some other what I call business power tools that are there for you free, and some other plumbing business lessons in there that are free. So you can check it out. Go to milliondollarplumber.com/school, as in SKOOL. So there we go. Hey, it was great having you here. Good stuff here. It's going this way. It's exciting. It's exciting times to be having a plumbing business. It's never been easier to be a small guy and to be able to compete with the big guys, especially using experts like OKLocal. So do it. All right. There you go. Hey, before I let you go, as always, I want to remind you that you were purposefully and wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things. So plumb like a champion.